Hey, Gloucester Township. I'm Joe Allen. It's Keith Gibbons. This is the Gloucester Township Observer Podcast.
We are recapping the July 22nd council meeting today. Was not that packed with excitement, but we do have some things to go over for you guys.
Yeah, I stayed home. Stayed home. It was like, I don't know.
There was a school board meeting that night, so I let me put my disclaimer up. But yeah, I was not in attendance. I had a school board meeting, so I did send in Egov questions though. But there was a couple people that were out of town, not able to make it, so it kind of made for a little bit a shorter council meeting.
Hopefully they weren't.
Somehow we'll drag this out for an hour somehow, right?
This is going to be an hour and a half, right?
Yeah. We got a lot to say about some stuff. But anyway,
15 minutes
that's why you guys tune in, right? Because you love us.
15 minutes worth of content, we'll do an hour and a half.
But so anyway, we were all reminded of how the rules of a council meeting are. If you guys didn't see last time, Dina Hendry decided she was going to use her First Amendment right to call them all lying sacks of crap or something.
Yeah,
I think she used a different word, but either way, she was really irritated and pissed off. And apparently, you are not allowed to say anything negative or curse. I guess you're not allowed to say, even though I'm pretty sure that curse words are protected. They're more protected.
It is
under the First Amendment, according to the Supreme Court. But somehow,
you can,
under the rules of decorum in our council meeting,
policies posted on walls, they don't trump your rights.
Yeah.
So
anyway, there was a reminder, and we will play for you guys.
Those that are new to the meeting and those that have attended in the past, I want to remind that there are rules of order and conduct. So if you're not familiar with it, there's a resolution on the bulletin board there that talks about those rules and conduct of a council meeting.
Yeah, you're not allowed to criticize them and say things that they don't like.
All kinds of shady stuff goes on in that room, but you are not allowed to say bad words.
Yep.
They can sell you out to whoever they choose to sell you out to, and do all that kind of disgusting stuff.
Gaslight you.
You can't say bad words in there.
Yeah. So anyway, that be the first portion of any council meeting goes to public comments, which are for agenda items only, and there was none. So they kind of moved on for the first reading of an ordinance. Joe, you're from this area, so you probably know this a little bit better. But it was no turn on red or something?
Yeah, it was one street over, and I just thought, I don't know. I just figured I'd clip it here and play the clip.
Intersection Jarvis Road and Sicklerville Road, traveling southbound, prohibited right turns on red at the southbound Jarvis Road at the intersection of Sicklerville Road due to limited intersection sight distance at this approach.
So are there problems on that intersection?
That's what I was wondering, because I just drove here right before coming home to do the podcast. And I looked, I was going down Sicklerville Road, but when we passed Jarvis Road on my right-hand side, I kind of looked behind me to see if there was limited sight. I've come out there several times. I don't recall limited sight there, and I looked behind her and I saw a decent amount there. So I don't know.
There must be. I don't think that they did it for their health, but either way, that's going to be no turn on red.
There's always a cop parked right there.
Is there?
So I was just wondering if we need some.
Or are they paying attention, or are they on break when they're doing that?
I just wonder if we need some revenue.
Oh, could generate revenue, I guess.
Yeah. So I saw that and I thought, wow, the biggest issue I see at Garwood Sicklerville Road is the people blowing the red lights. It is several days a week that I'm at that light, turning on Sicklerville Road, and the light is red, and people are starting to go, and somebody blows it. So it's crazy how much it happens there. So I don't know. No turn on red, not that big a deal. Or turning on red is not that big a deal when you've got people just blowing lights. So, I don't know.
Okay.
Put it in there so that you know. So you don't get tickets.
I'm sure they will have signs posted as well.
There is going to be
But if it's something new, people might not recognize it and be like, oh, we were always able to turn on red here. I didn't even take note. Yeah. Well, get off your phone and stop texting.
It will likely be on the August 12th council meeting.
Right. Can you imagine there's outrage from the town?
Can you imagine 1,000 people show up?
All these people show up and we water turn on red there?
All this stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
sewers being sold. They're like,
sewer,
what about that
taxes,
turn on red?
conflicts of interest, indictments, all kinds of shady stuff going on there, and people just line up down the street for no turn on red.
I love my cheesesteaks from Mario's. Yeah. That'll get you fired up, but not the sewer. So anyway, then we moved into Egov section where you're able to send in a question to government and they answer it for you. Hopefully they answer it for you, or they answer a different question. So someone asked about, I didn't pull a clip of this one here, but somebody asked about their sewer system. They have a septic tank and they wanted to hook up to the sewer because it gets full a lot and it costs them a lot of money for their septic. So they just kind of said, all right, we'll connect you with someone.
Don't do that.
Huh? Right, yeah.
Hey, why don't you wait till the spring?
Yeah.
All right? Wait till the spring, because we might all be digging. We might all be digging in our own backyards next to do our own. So we'll see.
Yeah, so that was one thing. So they were going to connect that resident with the business administrator who can get her, whatever, I forget which one it was, in touch with someone to maybe get that done. So then the next one was my Egov question that I sent in. Here, I broke these up into multiple clips here.
In regards to the sale of the sewer utilities, I would like to know if the town solicitor believes the residents have any say in the wording of the referendum and or the interpretive statement for the ballot question. The wording of the referendum ballot question is prescribed by statute, specifically NJSA 4062-5 provides that the question printed on the election ballot shall be in substantially the following form. Shall the be sold for the sum of X amount of dollars? Yes or no? The statute further provides that if a majority of the legal voters voting at such election shall vote yes, the governing body may accept the bid of the highest responsible bidder and carry out such lease or sale as authorized by the election.
So the one part that he failed to address in there was the interpretive statement, and that's more along. So we've been talking about this sewer system sale and the referendum, and telling people like we don't know what the wording means and all that stuff, like how it's going to be worded, and not being experts in this whole thing here. I think that was fair to not know that and not put that out there yet. But then he's saying now that per statute, it's has to be basically spelled out that should we sell the sewer system for $143 million. Yeah. So we knew there was some kind of requirements, for that. We didn't know what that was to be, how it was going to be worded. But there's also typically a interpretive statement that says, if you can't understand this question here is the explanation of it. And that has plenty of precedent in other, areas, other towns where they have input from the residents, and there are towns that have been sued for not allowing input, for their. So it doesn't sound like they're allowing an interpretation or interpretive statement to be added. It's just going to be the simple question of that. That's what I gathered from his response. However, it could be that they just completely ignored that part of the interpretive response and just there's going to be one and no, you have no say in it. So we don't know how that's going to play out yet until the meeting on the 8th.
His response made it sound very cut and dry. This is what it's going to be. Should we sell sewer for this amount?
Right.
That's
how it sounds. Let's see what happens.
If that's how it is, that's the best option. It's the clearest. I mean, it's the most understandable option, right? It's the most understandable option. Most people what I fear, though, is most people will go, why would we sell the sewer? Because they haven't been involved enough.
See, mine would say they see $143 million and they say, yes. Why would we not take $143 million?
Because the stipulation underneath of it may...
But they're not. It sounds like they're not even going to have that.
But if they did, they could say to pay off...
And that's the point of where they're not allowing the public to have any input in what that interpretation...
Which will be used to pay off township debt. And people go, wow, yeah, I'd like to be out of debt. Yeah, we should township shouldn't be out of debt. Should be out of debt. So, let's do that.
But what...
Not realizing...
It's not taking them out of debt. It's putting them in more debt. If you're paying off $70 million, and the reason to pay off $70 million is to sell your sewer to get that money, but you have to pay $143 million to pay down this $70 million, you really doubled your debt. You didn't pay down your debt. You doubled it.
Yeah, essentially, they got a new credit card in our name.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is. They got a new credit card in our name.
Yeah. So they're not going to have to pay the debt down after this point. We will.
Correct. So anyway, so that was the first clip here. Let's do the second.
As a general matter, the township does not seek resident input on the drafting of resolutions and ordinances. Pursuant to state law, residents have the right to vote on whether or not the township should sell the wastewater system. Next question. If the public does have that right, please provide details on how the public will be included in the writing of the interpretive statement. As I stated earlier, the interpretive statement that will be included on the ballot has already been prepared by special counsel based on similar past transactions in the state and is included in the ordinance.
All right, so that now he says, as I stated before. No, you didn't state that before. Before you stated, generally we don't have the public input, and now it says that there is going to be an interpretive statement, and it's already been written by a special counsel, and that was done based off of other, how it's been written in other towns.
He should have pulled out a projector, put the org chart up on, and go there and say, "You're not up top."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like other towns are up top.
Yeah,
you're not up top.
There.
You don't have.
I don't know who you think you are.
Get to talk about this, buddy.
But I am the king here, and yeah. So that was I think.
Next question. Can you please outline concisely as to what the timeline, events, and responsibilities from this point forward to getting the referendum on the November ballot, i.e., what are the next steps, the upcoming deadlines that must be met, etc. The next steps in the procurement process are as follows. Hold a public hearing on the ordinance and council vote to adopt the ordinance on the second reading at a special meeting on August 8th. If the ordinance is adopted, we'll submit the ballot question to the Camden County Clerk on August 9th. Hold public meetings regarding the sale between August and October. The referendum vote will take place on the November 5th, 2024 ballot. If the referendum passes, the parties will execute agreement of sale. If the referendum fails, the sale will not occur unless council decides to commence a new procurement process in the future. If the agreement is executed, pre-closing activities to take place, this process usually takes about 6 months, with a closing anticipated by the end of June of 2025.
Oh,
and they're really cutting it close to the 2025 budget, where the mayor has to provide a no tax increase or tax decrease to do his normal thing, where he's the savior. He gets reelected. It's really cutting it close. So I would guess that our budget's going to be delayed a little bit, probably.
Well, everything's done up to the wire.
If they get the approval in November, then they essentially have that money there. That it's not theirs yet, but
they can recognize it from an accounting standpoint.
They can anticipate it. So that's
yeah. But I was going to say the timing though. It's pretty interesting that we'll have a special meeting on the 8th, and the question is due to the county clerk on the 9th. So it's like everything else. It's like, look, we have to pass this budget tonight because it's due to the state, tomorrow. Otherwise, everything shuts down. And it just drives me nuts that that's how government works. It's not just locally here; it's federal level too. They're like, the government's going to shut down if we don't vote for this, omnibus, that takes care of all these things and has all this stuff in there.
Oh man,
and it's just you have to vote for it. You know what I mean? And it's like this. We've had tons of
shut
time.
It down.
Yeah, shut it down. I don't care if you.
Hey, just stop billing me. Yeah, shut it down. Stop billing me. Now we're good.
But so this one, it's the special meeting is the night before it's due, and
we have
to. So that was a great point, Mr. Resident, but we can't really change it now because it's tomorrow. It's due. So
you know what? You know what could happen here on the 8th. On the 8th, they know everything they could possibly know now. They've heard from residents over and over again. They have not. Residents have asked questions. Residents have brought up reasons why it's a bad idea. They have yet to provide why it's a good idea, other than, look, we're in debt. we need to pay it off, which we've gone through. We're not really paying it off. We're just throwing the
Right.
debt on somebody else.
Right.
So they may, at this point, on the 8th, say, you know what, it's not a good idea. We don't agree with it. It's not going to go on the ballot.
Are you kidding? You think that's going to happen?
Yeah, of course. But
Okay, I'm going to say, I don't know who I'm sitting next to here.
Look, I'm saying, this is your chance. If you're a council member and you're like, you know what, I'm tired of being called a robot or
Puppet.
or I'm new and people are starting to wonder if I'm a robot. Like, maybe you say, you know what, this is where I'm different, and I don't have a good reason that we should do this. There's more reasons why we shouldn't than why we should, and I believe that this is not a good idea. So
I'm still waiting on the propaganda flyers that were put out that first meeting where they're saying like this is all fake and all this. Where's the rebuttal? Like what was fake of what we've said? What's wrong of anything that we've said? We haven't heard the other side, like you said. Where is all that information? He did say that from between August and October or November or whatever, there's going to be additional meetings where the seller or the purchaser would be available to discuss. So I'd love to hear what that actually comes out to be, but it's going to be all smoke and mirrors and whatever else. But anyway, let's move on. We had one last portion of this here where my intent was by this question. They love to gaslight or to point fingers and be like, the state told us to do that. Or the local finance board's the one that approved that. They told... What? The local finance board said it's okay. So it's always someone else's fault. So in my question here is I could just see that the way the process goes is like the clerk's the one that submits the question to there. And they're like, the clerk submitted it. Council... The clerk's the one that did it, not us. So I was... Not protecting, but just clarifying, just so we know later on. You're not going to blame it on the clerk. This isn't the clerk's question here.
Lastly, from my understanding, the clerk is supposed to submit the wording of the referendum and the interpretive statement. Can you confirm that the wording is not that of the clerk, but wording that the council must approve before being submitted? The wording of the referendum question is prescribed by state statute as described above. The wording of the statement has been prepared by legal counsel, reviewed, and approved by Township Council members. The mayor has no input with regards to any matters concerning the potential sale. And that concludes Mr. Gibbons' question.
So he did answer that it's legal counsel is the one that wrote the interpretive statement, which also acknowledges that the residents had no input on that, that statement. And said that the mayor has nothing to do with the thing, and that council's the one that approved it. So the council's already approved what's going to be submitted to the, to the council to approve. Even though it comes from the administration, but he's claiming that the mayor has nothing to do with this. So that was them trying to get one more last. I guess they didn't really know where I was coming at with that question because of the way that I worded it. Making it because what they did do was omit the last question that I sent, which said basically, whose question is this? Is this the administration's question to council that a council is approving? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because whose agenda is it, right? This is what the administration wants. The council approves it as like a separate body of government there. So whose question is this? Don't blame the clerk that it's her question. Is it the mayor's question that he's putting on the you know what I mean? So and they just completely ignored that question out of there, but they did at least address the clerk one. So anyway,
I think a clerk feels like a hostage.
Do I think the clerk feels like a hostage? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, what did you pull up over here on here? Something I needed to.
I realized that there was a question that I posed to the clerk before, and it went through.
It went through?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not following you.
I almost don't want to mention it because I don't want it to change.
Okay. So we had one last question. That was because he said there was 3 questions from there, and it was from Albert Newton, which this is... Where are we at?
This is from Albert Newton at 1341 Blackwood Clementon Road. This is the question for council members Mercado, Mignon, Walters, and Nash. Why did you collect 24,000 political campaign donations a year after your election? We are familiar with your questionably corrupt pattern of accepting a large volume of political campaign donations from firms, then awarding those firms GT government contracts. But these donations were received by your 2023 campaign fund a year later. What is the purpose of these donated funds? We've gone back and forth. And people say it's a political question or not a governmental question. Political campaigns have EFOs, the election fund of, and for instance, they have Mercado, Mignon, Nash, and Waters. Campaign contributions come in. Those campaign contributions can continue after an election. Sometimes there are bills that need to be paid, and those contributions come in. Regarding the questionably contributions or how they're used, Mr. Newton, that is your opinion, and you're entitled to that.
So Mr. Newton is entitled to that opinion.
Who's this guy? Why isn't he showing up for our meetings?
I know. What the heck?
I've yet to meet an Albert Newton. But
it's a great question that he poses, though.
He brings up some good points, too. Well, Mercado did. Sometimes we've, I've been involved in campaigns now for a couple of years, and found some of them don't get paid off at the end of the year, like they still owe money to people. They've overspent. So, but this one here, I think.
Yeah, this one didn't. Usually, you're right. They usually are in debt, and it's usually all to the same like sign company or printing company that they use. It's like, the
signs that we're not allowed to put out on the road, they get put out on the road.
Yeah, well, they use them for mailers also, and it's like sometime we owe like $40,000 to this. I forget the name of it, but it's some place that they have. Collingswood maybe, or it's always the same place. It's always in debt. But anyway, the Mercado Waters, Mignon and Nash EFO was not closed out. Typically, these are closed out at the end of the year because it doesn't exist anymore. There's no need. There's no need for it. It's an election fund or election finance. What's it stand for?
I forget now.
Election. Either way,
I never plan on using another one again. So
yeah, exactly. But anyway, so this Albert Newton questioned why are you getting $24,000 for this, and his response back was, "There's bills that have to be paid." Well, now all of a sudden they're getting bills to be paid. So I'd like to know who this printing company is that just allows everybody to never pay them, because I'd like to start using them for other things. And then the other part is, what other company, if it's not that company, who's billing you a year later? Who just never sent an invoice and was like, oh yeah, you need go raise $24,000.
Yeah, because you should be in debt. You should be in debt online. If you look the records up, you should be in debt then unless they haven't billed you yet for last year.
Correct. Yeah.
So, I think what this might have been directed towards is this $24,000 that you just got? Is this going to fund whatever, because it's going to be a referendum now. So if it's a referendum, then you have to, if you're going to support or not support a referendum, you should be, when you put signs out, it should say paid for by,
correct,
like an EFO. So
it's treated as if it's a candidate, is what I guess you're trying to say. Right.
So I think the question here is maybe digging at, or you're planning to campaign for this?
Yeah.
Which
maybe they could.
Hey, somebody's campaigning, because somebody went to the first community meeting we did, put flyers on cars, trying to discredit people.
Yeah. Well, I believe at that point though, it's not really a candidate because it's not actually a referendum.
No, but if somebody jumped in that early to research,
oh yeah, it's coming.
Or somebody already knew who the people were that were speaking,
right?
And they knew their history, so
yeah. But kudos to Albert Newton for finding that out. We had mentioned that on the last podcast that we had heard rumblings of that, and
there's gonna be like there'll be sell the sewer signs that are gonna be. They're not gonna say sell the sewer. We're gonna make it seem like something's awesome.
Yeah, get out of debt free.
Yeah. So yeah, there's gonna be some kind of campaign. There's gonna be mailers that are gonna come to your house talking about how great you're gonna feel when you flush the toilet.
Yeah. Oh, I liked. I don't know if it was this meeting. I think it was the last one where Mercado was like, before you even say, this is the debt you created. This is in our parks. in our police department and all this stuff. And when he says the parks thing, all I could think of is my tour of parks department. So if you guys right now is probably a good time, you guys should subscribe to this channel here. We have other segments. If you go into our YouTube channel, there's playlists on there. You can check out the parks playlist and go take a look at the parks he's talking about that created all this debt. There's some parks that are in such bad shape, and we'll have somebody else later on in this meeting, come up. But anyway, in the meantime, hit the subscribe button, turn the notifications on, check us out online on gtobserver.com. You can guys find us on Facebook on GT Observer. What else? Well, YouTube, you're already watching us here, but let's go back to the main. Here we go. All right.
Yeah, you know what my first thought of when you said all this money that goes to the parks, I thought of the bridge that is the size of this table.
Yeah.
That was $30,000.
32 grand, I believe it was. Yep. It allows water to go underneath of it with rocks, but I also found another thing that we have in town that could have been used, and it's probably $1,000 to solve that same issue. But I think of when I go down Church Street and I see the bike kiosk that hasn't had a bike in it in like at least 2 years.
Oh, I remember that.
And
is that the one where the bear was sitting on the bike?
I don't know.
In the picture?
Maybe.
Is that one? Oh, okay.
Those seats are pretty high. I don't know if he was sitting. He might have been.
They're boosters.
Holding.
Yeah, they boosters.
Yeah. But there's
guys underneath them holding his feet up.
There was a tool thing that would be right where the bike kiosk was. It had little Allen keys and like wrench and all this stuff. And you go to any one of those on that bike trail, there's nothing left on them. They're all just destroyed. It's like this whole program that they put in place completely fell apart. But this is the parks that created all this debt that that you guys should be happy that we did. But again, go on there and go to the park tour. Don't take my word for it. Go there and you can visually see all of the parks that they're talking about. They're not all as nice as Hickstown.
I was gonna say Hickstown is it's a great park. Like you go there, you're impressed. You're
we do have great parks. I'm not saying we don't, but I'm just saying don't sit there and boast about all of our great parks because I
there are
can
some people
call
in
you
parks
out
by
on
their
that
house and they're looking at these parks and they're going, I don't know where the good parks are, but it's not this one.
Right. Well, interestingly enough, if you go over to I can't think of the name of that park over there now. But it's off of Almonescent Road. There's a development back there. It's not... Oh, crap. I can't think of the name of it. But Chief of Police lives back there. But anyway, a new council member lives back there. Timber Cove, it's called. Timber Cove.
Oh, yeah.
So he lives back there, and somehow, magically, they have new park over there. There's a pickleball court going in over there. There's new basketball court. I mean, that park was a disaster. But... on the Facebook group for that town or that little section over there, they all thank him for the new park that they got, and he was running on that, getting everybody a new park. So we got a lot of votes out of that little community.
Now I feel like I owe my neighbors an apology that if they're like, man, the park around here sucks. Yeah, I'm like, sorry guys, I didn't win. I tried my best, but I live closest to Hickstown Park, so we've
So actually, Hickstown Park is an interesting story. I got talking to somebody about the history of that park, and it's pretty interesting. We should have her on. Like, she was a council member back when that park was kind of being created. And that reminds me, I should reach out to her.
She was pretty deep into, I think, the creation of that, and then it got swiped away.
Yeah, it was kind of stolen away after an election. It was just like, hey, we're gonna take all. Thanks for doing all that work. We're just gonna run this over here, and I'll put a little statue of myself outside there. Thanks. Cool.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I got a baseball bat or a pickle or whatever that is, and then we're All right, so then we move on to in-person public comments section here, where David Leader gets up and he's talking about something he'd said about Egov before, about drive like your kids live here signs.
I was driving through Washington Township and saw signs that said drive like your children live here. I suggested that to the mayor, and an officer in the police force contacted me and asked me questions about what my goals were and so forth, and said that they were going to monitor the speed on Station Avenue by the school.
I recall that you had sent that as Egov a few weeks ago. Those signs are provided, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, they're private organizations that provide those signs.
That's my understanding from Washington Township. It's a productive program. But the traffic experts often, we get concerned about too much signage. It becomes signage pollution, if you will, in layman's terms.
Okay, so
if you can put those signs out, then you can put election signs out. We ain't having none of that.
well, you know
hate
what
those
he's talking
signs.
about? I think he's talking about like those like orange ones. That's like a kid like running and it has like a flag out of one hand and like.
I just want to drive. I just want to drive over those things. I hate those things, man.
Well,
no,
yeah,
I've
people just
seen-
put them out there to call attention. Like, hey, I have kids that live here. Just hey, watch out.
There are signs though that say it says "Drive like your kids live here." I've seen them on people's lawns.
Right.
I would, for some reason, when I see one, I think I know a lot of parents don't like their kids. I don't know.
No one's ever gonna want
It
their-
goes through my head. I'm like, maybe you don't want people driving like their kids live here because I know some pretty bad parents. So it just always crossed my mind when I see those signs. But
Yes. Anyway, so he brought that up again. Chief kind of told him that it's kind of a little bit of noise and pollution of, or distraction, I should say. But anyway, he also followed up with, why is the public not involved in the writing of the ballot question, similar to my question that was asked during the Egov?
I think citizens should be able to participate and possibly wordsmith with the people who create that product.
So we have workshop meetings that take place the second Monday of the
That doesn't
month
happen.
at 6:30.
Right. We don't have
We
those.
do not have that as a subject matter at one of our workshop meetings. But we will be, when I was reading the Egov emails, but we will be having meetings that take place leading up to that. And there's a special hearing on August 8th. Thank you.
So David's follow-up should have been, well, okay, so if a $143 million sale isn't worthy of a workshop topic, what is? Oh,
Right.
actually, nothing is because we don't have them.
we don't have
we
them.
just cancel them.
we know some people that'll show up for a workshop meeting if there's a workshop meeting, and they're often turned away to find out
that
there
was
are no
canceled.
workshop meetings. So, yeah, appreciate the questions from David too. He's I see him comment on our stuff now. It's good seeing new faces come out to meetings, ask questions.
Yes,
and get
definitely. He's
involved. So,
very into watching our thing. So thank you, David, if you are watching this
Yeah.
one. Always love, like you said, the additional help, input, and thoughts around keeping our government accountable.
came out to our sewer meeting, showed up, and asked if we could help out at all. So appreciate it.
True, yeah. All right, so we also had another regular, Mr. Burns. Brian Burns asked council for an update on the Murray and Hayes projects here, and their answer back was basically they're shooting for September and October close. Those properties there would be a preserved land is basically what it is. So I didn't pull any clips here because it was a little bit long. Try to keep it a little bit shorter here. He did also bring up a topic that was kind of a little bit of a jab there, where he said, "All right, in the last 25 years, here I'll play the clip for you."
So back in 1999, Township had 763 acres as open space. It was now 973, which is, your simple math, 210 new acres over a period of 25 years. And if we were to break that down, we're only looking at about 8 acres a year. And if we subtract from that 110 from the Roslyn Bridge, the Murrays and the Haze's, it's only 100 acres in 25 years, which is about 4 acres per year. So obviously in the past, not a whole lot of open space was being preserved.
So yeah, that's a little bit of a jab there. I was like, hey, well, 100 of these 200 acres that you guys have preserved, actually, I kind of did that for you. So the ones that you guys actually preserved was only 4 acres per year is basically what it boils down to. So it's a little bit of a jab and also a recognition, hey, open your eyes up and we're not preserving any open space around here. I mean, that is such a hot topic that you see anytime a bulldozer shows up, everybody gets up in arms and they're like, what's going on? Where are the animals going to go? But the frustrating part is nobody comes out and does anything when it's time to do that. They just wait for the bulldozers. It's too late, folks. Where were you when when the fight was
Yeah.
going on, when we posted online and said, hey, there's a planning board meeting here that says they want to do this to this. Just crickets. Somebody else ought to do it. Somebody else will save it. No one's going to save you. You guys got to save yourselves.
Brian and I just being involved in general in all this really changed my view on this whole thing, because I initially thought, well, man, we're being taxed so much. I believed their story, right? We're getting taxed so much because we need more business. We need more business. We got to build. We got to build. We got to build. And I believed it for a long time.
No, stop spending. You don't have to build more.
I thought, man, we've got to take every open bit of space that we have, and we got to put a business on it, and that's going to solve all of our problems. And then, as I got involved more, I started to figure out the more open space that we take up, and the more business that we bring in. One, the more infrastructure we have to support those. The outlets. There's a whole rows of infrastructure that goes out there. But on top of that, they're just going to spend more.
100%. 1,000%.
They're never going to say, well, man, we've got all this extra millions of dollars now at the end of the year because we have all these new businesses. We're just going to put that as surplus. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. We're going to spend it. So,
I mean, those outlets are a prime example of, like, the taxpayers paid how much money to put that overpass bridge in over there, put all the infrastructure for the sewers and all that stuff going in over there by means of, we don't have there's tax abatement, so they're not paying taxes on that property. We made the property more valuable for Norcross, who's now been indicted, but he was involved with that.
He was the original. Well, he bought the farm.
Put in a medical center, put in this whole thing here. So under this basically false guise of it, and then it's like, all right, after all the infrastructure's put in that's on the taxpayers, back, you just made this property a lot more valuable. You know what? I think I'd be better off selling it to another company who then gets a tax abatement, and it's just like, what the?
Yeah, made several $1 million off of that for people thinking that it was going to be a medical facility.
But you're right. Brian's view. I didn't hold the same view that you did before I met Brian. I kind of always thought to stop spending and not why do we need to build those additional things. But I think it's a very common thought because of what we were fed. You know what I mean? Of like the story.
My thought was always stop spending, but there was always the part, well, look, they're not going to stop spending. So
right. Well, their answer back is always going to be like, well, what are you going to cut? What are you going to cut? How about I'm going to put in more crap that we don't need, like pickleball courts for somebody that comes to town from out of town saying we need pickleball courts. Is it a nice thing to have? Absolutely, it is. Do we need to have it? No. We've gone over this. I don't know how many times in this podcast before.
The $30,000 bridge that I could have done for about $125.
Right. We could figure out another solution. We don't need to do it. We don't need to pay Remington and Vernick, whatever it is, $20,000 to come up with that idea that's going to cost us $30,000 that we could have solved by using our own heads for $1,000.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the kind of stuff. Anyway, let's see. So that we would cut. So that would be the first. When they ask like, what would you cut? I would cut out all your pay-to-play vendors and their BS.
Yeah. Well, people tried putting in pay-to-play legislation to say that they were going to stop.
Oh,
they were going to stop that.
They're not going to stop that.
Yeah. If you were an honest politician, you go, I don't have a problem with that. Not here.
Nope. All right, so
oh man,
this next one, I debated on to keep this in or not, but this woman has a kind of a problem with the chief of police, and
this one is a problem.
All right, end of story on that.
End of story.
So we have a clip of she does not want to be talking to the chief outside of a council meeting, but needs to talk to him.
If you want to make an appointment with me, I am
frustrating.
available. I'll try to explain it to you as Detective Richards explained it to you, but I will do my best to try to explain it to you. If you want me directly after this meeting, I'll stay as long as I need to meet with you.
Not at all. Okay. This is an unofficial capacity, something at a council meeting afterwards?
This is an official capacity after the conclusion of the meeting. You'll have a meeting with the chief of police to explain your investigation to you, or you can make an appointment tomorrow at some point.
I never signed anything into this investigation that was made.
Thank you, Ms. Smithman, for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so it's just I don't know what it's hard to like watch the chief like I've tried helping you, I can't. It's like, I don't know. There's a saying that I say all the time. People are like, I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. Like where you say it over and over and over, and it's really frustrating.
She's brought this topic up
for a year.
For a year, yeah. For the first year, it was one. Was she on year 3 now?
Probably something like that.
For the first year, it was a particular set of topics, and then the next year it was another particular set of topics. Now it's a personal topic that she has that
you can't discuss in public.
If you're new and you come to our meetings, you have to understand that there are some people that show up there because they've got nobody to talk to for the most part. So they come and they come and they.
Look, you're allowed to talk to your government and redress your government. If she has issues, she's allowed to do that. She has every right.
Yeah, it's to the point now where I thought the last meeting she had her phone on record and was just pointing it at the chief most of the time, just recording, and I was like, which you're allowed to do, right? We've covered this, but I don't know. What are you picking on the guy for? He seems like a nice guy.
I don't know that she's recording. I mean, I'm not defending her, but I don't know that she's recording him. I don't know what she's recording. I think she's recording the meetings because she doesn't have access to.
She went around a little bit, but she was like I watched and I was there. Yeah,
I don't
there
really
and behind her,
attention.
and I was like, why is if somebody's standing there with a phone to the side of your head for like a good half hour. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get you, but it's her right to record it, and I think that's what she's doing is being able to have a record of it because she doesn't have access to the internet. I don't believe, like most people do.
I've heard that, but she had a smartphone, so I was confused
okay. I don't know that. I don't know, but we had another. The meeting kind of tailed out with some fun stuff.
But the fire departments have the mapping program.
All right, so that's the entrance to Danny Palace.
If you thought that was bad, wait for the next one.
Right, yeah. Oh, so I'm not even sure what we're covering on this, but there's now 2 people that believe something is going on with our water. I don't know if it had to do with it. Well, it all has to do with Jem's landfill. But now there's so much she brought back up that. So hold on a second. Let's just play this clip here. Oh man, I'm all over her team.
There is so much arsenic, nickel, copper, all kinds of chemicals that are still coming through there at high percentages. And the people in Millbridge get the aqua water. The people in Gloucester get the aqua water. The homes don't. They get American water, where the mayor works, where you're going to try to put the sewer system through. The MUA people that you're taking off the system. I'm here to kind of back up a little bit more of what she said. Now, she's, seen a lot more in the past of what she's bringing up here. Bit of pictures. I have documentation of some things. Now, also, there's quite a bit of animals. She has a farm. It's called the Easy Rescue, where a lot of animals are dying. She's had dogs die. My dog passed away recently, but also, according to multiple veterinarian clinics around in this area, there's let me just pull it back up so I don't, leptospirosis, which now this new puppy here has the vaccine for, which they also say can be passed on to humans.
So I'm so lost over, I don't know what she was talking about. This puppy right here, like she was pointing to David Leader, who looked like they're sitting in the corner there, like he has the vaccine for it, and this one has. So I wasn't following. I don't know if you followed it, but between the 2 of them, I was so lost. I just cut it down to that section there and said, "What's this Easy Ranch thing?"
You know,
all these animals dying.
The last person that we covered, and this person when they cover, if I'm home, I usually go out. And to the kitchen.
This is the intermission break here.
Go to the kitchen, pour a beer, and then my wife will go, "Hey, is that who?" Oh, she said, "Oh, I gotta see this." My wife will come down and watch it, and then she'll go, and then she'll go back upstairs. but I generally don't pay attention. But I did, and I was wondering. Well, who owns Easy's Rescue Ranch? And I looked it up. I mean,
do you have a? How do you switch over to that? Is this on?
I don't have the cable plugged in.
Oh, okay.
We were doing a live stream and I forgot to plug it back in.
Gotcha. You can Google Easy's Ranch. Easy apostrophe S.
The letter EZS, rescueranch.org. It says Gloucester Township. I don't know who owns it. She made it sound like the second woman said she owns a ranch.
Yeah, I didn't know if she was talking about Danny Harris or...
I don't know who Easy is.
I'm not sure what's going on with it, but the ranch looks like it's been around since 2021. But she's claiming now that because of water, she thinks animals are dying there.
Animals are dying there.
I don't know where they're rescuing these animals or what. I'm not sure what's going on with there. But there's something we could look into and get back to you guys if there's something there. I don't know. You want to keep talking about this here, or?
I'm like I don't know. Maybe somebody reaches out to Easy Rescue Ranch and say, hey. Are your animals dying because of something in the water?
Right, road trip. Let's look into it.
Is there's so local vets are reporting that there's a problem with the water, and local vets are reporting it because I don't know. I want to know. Like I want to know if it's easy to say don't listen to these people because
Well, there's always truth to something that's going on there.
Somebody shows up like a cowboy, and you're like, I'm not really sure if it's legit, right? But maybe. Just a little different outfit, and you're like, I think this person's got something. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody reaches out to Easy Rescue Ranch and says, "What's the issue? Are there vets to back it up? And if there are vets to back it up, go talk to the vets.
Yeah.
And we'll figure this out."
You know what? It's definitely real. Is that the mayor likes to have photo shoots. Right?
Oh, he does.
That is a real. We had Dave
alive,
Brown. I forget what neighborhood that's in. That he had a playground that took 7 years
Mulberry
to get.
Station?
Mulberry Station.
Yeah.
Yep. So he wanted here. Let's listen to this clip here.
Noah brought up last time about we did get our playground in after waiting for 7 years. We finally got it in. We got a call about 4:30 one day that the mayor was there at 4 o'clock for his pictures with the grand opening of it, but none of us were even told about it. So I didn't understand why he didn't want the neighborhood there with him cutting the ribbon for the grand opening, but that's just how it goes.
That is how it goes. It do be like that sometimes. That's just...
Yeah, I've witnessed it for myself. He comes in a protected fashion, does his thing, whether it's like that was like the charity baseball game. Because I remember I was with Sam Sweet at a charity baseball game when Sam was running against him, and Sam just wanted to shake his hand, and he was like, "Watch, you won't shake my hand." And I watched the mayor walk towards, and then Sam was coming this way, and he's like, "I'm gonna go this way," and he went all the way around, and then Sam was like, "I'm gonna go this way," and shake his hand. And I saw this guy just duck as much as he possibly could, and then get back into a car and take off.
Yeah.
And I was like, he did not want to hang out with anybody. So.
Nope, just the pictures.
Yep, just pictures.
So, Mr. Brown also mentioned the flag code that
Oh yeah.
My one question, I talked to you a couple of months ago about American flag with the U.S. flag code. The flag is below that flag there, and it's below that flag there. And that's against the U.S. flag code. As a vet, I know only 1% of the population in New Jersey served in the military, but we do deserve something, and there's a lot of people who died for that flag, to have it go by the right flag code. Thank you.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
what we'll do is, I don't know anything about flags, but we will adhere to that flag code. We have just started, I'm not sure if you get the mayor's newsletter, a Office of Veteran Affairs.
Okay, so
it's a good spot for a commercial for the new building. This is I've learned a decent amount from a flag code. I've got a father and grandfather, both veterans. So I've my
I
dad.
think the basics of it is it's just that nothing should be higher than the American flag. Like if you have 3 flags all the same height, the American flag shouldn't be at the same height. It should be a little higher.
Which is what I thought.
Right.
You shouldn't fly anything over the American flag.
Right.
But if you have 3 flags in a row, they can be.
Right.
There was a rumor. There's always a rumor that the only flag that could fly at the same height of the American flag was the Texas flag, and it's not true. You can fly a state flag at the same height as the American flag, and if they are positioned like they're positioned in there,
Right.
the American flag has to go. I believe flag code says it has to be on the left of the other flags. They can be at the same level, so it does not have to be higher than the rest of them.
But if it's on a flag pole and they're like vertically, the American flag should be the highest.
Absolutely,
one
yeah.
up. Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, he brought that up, and then it was mentioned about the Veterans Affairs office, which kind of threw me for a loop. And we have a veterans
In Camden County.
we have a
Blackwood?
Camden County office that's in Blackwood. So what are we doing? I don't know. Are they not satisfying their the needs that they need to have another one? I'm not sure what that's all about, but did you have any?
No,
input?
it's
Did
probably.
you look into it?
I would question that too because it's I don't really know. I don't know too much about what the Veterans Affairs does. What the purpose of it is? I could probably ask my father.
Right. Yeah.
What the purpose of it is, but if the Camden County portion of it isn't providing good services for veterans, let's fix it. Let's get on somebody and
Let's
let's
fix what
it.
exists.
Let's not create another one.
Right. Another one that doesn't do what
But
it needs to do.
If somebody needs to be held accountable on the county level, let's do that.
Well, so that's a great question, a great topic there. We know one does exist.
Yeah.
We know it exists there, and if it's failing enough that we need have another Gloucester Township one, let alone the Camden County one, we have Dan Hutchison, who is an LD4 assemblyman. You had Senator Paul Moriarty, and you had Cody Miller.
Yeah.
All at the opening thing. We had that's county level stuff and Donald Norcross also was there.
Yep.
Why aren't they fixing the Camden County one? Why are we building another additional one? I'm not sure what that's all about. There has to be something to that I'm missing, of why what that's about. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't question it if the county one was in Camden.
Right, if it was in
Gloucester
Cherry
Township's
Hill, there's not one here,
yeah.
but it's literally in the town, so I'm not sure what that's about.
Yeah, it was just, and I think initially a veteran brought that question up too.
Right,
Why
that's
we need
exactly
another
right.
one.
Well, that's
so. I didn't know, but if somebody does know, I would love you to just leave a comment on here or
let us know, please.
Joe@gtobserver.com. Let me know, and if one is not. If one is not providing for the veterans, please email and we'll dig into it because if it sucks like the VA does,
100%.
I'll tell you
We'll
that.
look into
I can tell you as somebody whose father goes to the VA quite a bit, the VA sucks.
Yeah,
and
I've
if
heard
that's
that.
the case for this too, then look, it's a local place. We'll get on them.
Yeah,
I'll get on them.
All right, so that kind of wrapped up the council meeting, other than the closing comments, and the chief brought up that coming up next week, right? We have August 6th, National Night Out. That's
Just want to invite the council and the whole community. It's already here, National Night Out, Tuesday, August 6th. Corporal McHugh has information about it. We'll be starting at 5 o'clock. We'll be hitting, again, we always get asked, where's it at? We're actually in our neighborhoods. We hit all the neighborhoods. Town Watch, that's the original plan of National Night Out. I know that there'll be an event here at Veterans Park as one of the Glen Oaks groups. But all the information will be on our website. We'll be putting it out. And we're hoping for good weather and have another great night visiting with the community of Gloucester.
all right. So that's again August 6th. It's basically in your local community. We were talking about all the parks and everything else. That there's got to be a local park to you. I know a couple of us know people who run them, like Y Oak Park. Sam Sweet does that one.
Anywhere, is there?
What's that?
Is there a list anywhere?
He said you can go on the website online and do it, but that's just the stops that they're doing because they also have the mayor and council gets in a little
yeah, they do that.
What do they call it? A motorcade, basically, of cars, and they travel around, shake hands and kiss babies and stuff like that, and then the fire department's usually out at some of those there with the truck for the kids to climb on. There's different activities, so each park is run by different people. State Street Park in Blackwood Estates. I'm helping kind of bring that one back. They kind of went away. I guess somebody either moved out that was doing that one, and it wasn't active for a couple of years. So we're trying to bring that one back.
Did move, yeah.
But that's not going to be it's not going to be a stop on their tour, so it's not going to be listed on their website until I guess I don't know whatever.
Blackwood Estates.
Yeah.
Oh, it used to be.
But the fire department I think is one of their stops, like the Blackwood Fire Company.
Oh yeah, because I had been there for one of the ones over there in the baseball field in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's on August 6th in a park near you. After that,
is Sam still doing? I wonder if Sam's doing the one.
I believe he is.
That's Y Oak, where
Y Oak, yeah,
behind the Target.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's stop by.
All right. So, just to do a little couple recaps of since the last time we spoke. You want to get into it, Joe?
Oh yeah, man. We did the. So on July 27th, we did the community meeting for the sewer.
Yep.
Kind of the Save the Sewer community meeting, where we brought in some folks that knew that are involved in was it Food and Water Watch, and then someone else that was involved in municipal utilities in other parts of the state. They talked about what their experiences were when sewers,
how this is
sewers
gonna impact us.
and water companies go and water utilities go when they go private,
Right.
and why you would do it in some cases, which didn't pertain to us, but then what happens if you do? What's the downside to it? So they provided a lot of information. It was we did a.
This was the second one we did. So we had a different speaker this time than the first one for one of the segments. The other gentleman, we had a podcast. If you guys go onto our YouTube channel here and go into the videos, there was one with Dennis Palmer that was specifically a sit down like this, asking back and forth questions. And I've been told by so many people like how helpful that was and how it answered so many questions of theirs. These town hall meetings were also very informative, and you're also able to go back in our channels and view those as well for a little bit more information.
The live stream one was a little bit long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I thought at some point, probably halfway through it, I thought I would have done this differently, because it just, I think it was a little too much information for some folks, and I think there was some eyes glazing over.
My eyes glazed over, I can tell you.
So I thought, you know what, if we do another one, we will probably take the information from the professionals and present it in a bullet point. Here it is. Let's get down to let's not get too deep into the woods
minutia,
here.
Yeah.
You ask questions. The folks that have the folks, look, we haven't been given really any information, so we have to find out on our own. But we'll let you know what we know and provide that to you. I think the next
basically
one,
like a GT Observer hosted type of a meeting.
Yeah, that's what we thought. Next time, maybe you and I kind of MC the thing where we'll bring somebody in if they want to talk for 10 minutes. We'll let them talk for 10 minutes, and then we'll go back to it and then get the crowd involved. It was a decent crowd. They didn't, there wasn't people spilling out the doors, which is kind of what I was hoping for, but it was.
It's close.
We had cameras on the crowd, cameras there. I think the next one, what we might do is we might get some of these people that we've talked to in the past. We'll bring them in house, and then we'll set them up with some mics. We'll talk through kind of like what we did with Dennis, but then maybe open it up. We'll do it live.
Yeah, we could do a Zoom call in or something like that where people can ask questions, right?
Zoom, or we can bring in
phone calls or
YouTube
something.
chat or something, or we can take some chat. We can answer some questions, and hopefully, when
we're just trying to get as much information to people as they can so they can make an informed decision.
Yeah,
you know? We feel that the truth that goes out there will allow you to kind of side with what we're telling you. We would like you to do is to vote no against the sewer sale.
Only because it's not because they're doing it. It's just that we couldn't find a good reason to do it.
Yeah, we can only find downsides to it.
And if
all the downsides are going to financially cost us money and lose jobs potentially too, But,
yeah, and the people that are behind this Save the Sewer movement, I guess, some are not political at all. Yeah. And then others are complete opposites of the political spectrum, and everybody involved agrees. We don't, there hasn't been really any, other than two of the folks sitting up there that had said we should do this so that we pay off the debt. That's the only argument for it. We've gotten it from basically two people that say this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Out of a town of 60,000 people, two people so far say it's a good idea. And obviously some folks behind them are telling them it's a good idea.
Well, what I've heard from people is like, I think they should take the money. That's a lot of money. And I say to them, that's not taking the money. It's putting yourself in debt just to a privately held company.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You didn't get any money. You put yourself in further debt. And they're like, what do you mean? And when you explain to somebody, it's like, every penny that you're getting, you now owe them back plus some, and they're like, nah, like, what do you think? So it's again educating people when they understand that
American Water is going to get their money back, and then on top of that, they still have to make a profit.
Being nice guys,
So they're going to get their money back and then some. So I share that video with Dennis that we did. That was a really good video. It's not a long video, and it's a good back and forth with questions. Because we learned a ton from Dennis. So share it out. Look, I'm not going to be satisfied. Like I said, I posted on there before. There's like 20,000 or 21,000 ratepayers in GT. Mm-hmm. Until I can look at that and see that 21,000 people watch that video.
Right.
Then I know on November, if 21,000 people watch the video, and on November they vote to sell it, okay, I was wrong. They know something that I don't,
right? And
I was wrong. But if 500 people watch it, and then in November it happens, I'm gonna go, they didn't know what they were doing.
Right, exactly. But we'll be told, you guys wanted this. You're the ones that voted for it. No, actually, but okay. Anyway, so August 6th was National Night Out. 2 nights later, you got to be at the special meeting where council will be voting to finally say yes or no, this goes on the ballot in November.
Yeah, like I said earlier in the meeting too, this is
6 o'clock.
This is where the folks that want you to believe that they are individuals up there on your council meeting, that I think for myself, nobody tells me what to do. This is where they get their opportunity to say, I'm voting no on this because it's not a good idea for us, or I'm voting yes on this because of this. I would love every single. Well, I want. Look, there's 7 of them up there.
They've already been given their talking points. Here's your answer. If somebody asks you why you're voting that way, I'm gonna let the people decide. I think the people should decide. It's the people's thing there. It doesn't have to be. It already is our system that we. I don't know.
Look, it's not going to take a lot of time for 7 people up there to present to the folks in the crowd why they think it's a good idea. Other than just because they're all going to sit there quietly, and people are going to ask them, and then one person's going to answer, and they're just going to shake their heads. I would love for every single person up there to give their opinion on why it's a good idea for it to sell.
They're never going to do that. That will never.
It's not a hard ask. It's
not at all. Nope. Not
I can write 7 answers down for them and give it to them to help them out, but
they've already been given their answer.
August 8th. Look, August 8th.
I think the people should decide. Yeah.
August 8th this is just a meeting for this.
Yeah, that's all it is.
It could potentially not go on the ballot because of this meeting and because of the decisions that are made on this meeting.
Yep.
So
August 8th, 6 o'clock, municipal building. Be there. But I think that's it for the show here. I'm gonna wrap it up. You have anything else to say? I'm done.
That's it. Next meeting is the 8th, but then the next council meeting is after that is the
12th.
12th. We will
We'll have a show after that. We'll try and get something in
cover both
between.
of those. Yep.
All right. See you, folks.
See you, folks.
Thanks.